for coming back from the break session. I would like to wish you a warm welcome to our panel that is talking about innovation and about payment infrastructure. So I think that everyone in this room knows about the payment infrastructure in Central Eastern Europe. Is clearly driven by digitization, regulatory reform, and permanent innovation. And here we talk not only about cards, but also we talk about the account-to-account payments. Indeed, cash remains one of the methods that is highly appreciated by the consumers. I was looking the other day in the official data at the end of 2024, according to the data from the National Bank, together with the data from Eurostat, Romania only, it's at about 32% penetration of card payments in total private consumption expenditures. So it's a lot of opportunity to grow. And hopefully next year, this time, if we are to talk about this conference, we will have much more comfortable figures, at least for Romania. So in terms of infrastructure, the region infrastructure is diverse, and it reflects the various level of technological maturity. However, what we have seen that the regulation are imposing some rules, and we hope that at a certain point in time, the infrastructure will converge. Also, innovation. We already touched today upon the artificial intelligence and automation. And our hope is to improve the consumer experience and also the experience of the SMEs when they make payments, so that you know, we as an industry convince more and more people to move from cash to cards and also to digital payments in general. To speak about the future of payments and the opportunities that are arising from digital in the future, I would like to introduce my fellow panelists for today. Galya Dimitrova, she is the co-founder and CEO at Iris Solution Limited. Then Ana Maria Georgescu, co-founder at Smart Fintech. Then Burak Yildiran, CEO Token Financial Technologies. Diederik Bruggink, here, Senior Director at European Savings and Retail Banking Group, and Bogdan, Ioniță, Business Development Manager for Transfond. So, to start our discussion, I would like to ask you a common question for all of the panelists. Which would be the one change you believe will most improve payments in the next period? And here we can talk about, I don't know, 12 to 24 months, so in short to medium term. So let's start from here then. If not, I can.
Thank you for having me here. Okay, it's working. So for me to be the part of payment industry just now is a very exciting moment, because we all know that the Europe is in tough transformation in this area, from cards to accounts, from fragmented system to instant connectivity, from closed networks to open rails. So I believe that the big change next 12 or 24 months will be mandatory instant payments plus open banking. They together will build the rails of account-to-account payments.
Yeah, I want to try. Okay. Yeah, if I say instant payments, I don't think that it will be a surprise, because instant payments is the topic for everybody. But if I'm concentrating myself locally, I will say that new ways of payment build on top of instant payments. And here I don't say only about RoPay, I say about open banking as well. Yeah, I think this will be the challenge if we are talking about the next 12 months. If we are talking longer terms, we can speak about agent payment, for instance, because this is what I see in the future and I like.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Anna, if you want to try.
It's working.
Yeah, it's working.
The next major the next major change I would include is what my fellow panelists already said: instant payment, account-to-account payments, but also doubled by the new legislation that is about to be finalized this year, hopefully PCR and PSD3, that mentioned that non-bank players will be able to access core payment infrastructure, and I'm not sure if the reality will happen in the next 2 years, but this is something that I find disruptive for the payment system, that kind of players be able to directly access payment infrastructure. And hand in hand with all these changes, I see also the AML and fraud systems doubled by AI to keep the pace of development.
Yeah, thanks. I think for me it's important to recognize that payments, always something exciting is happening. We heard that we are organizing events here totally about payments, which means that that's always something happening. We heard in the keynote speeches this morning from both Vice Governor and from the Acting Director of the European Commission that also payments are under huge scrutiny, be it about resilience or about sovereignty, or is it even about chasing the bad guys by putting up AML and KYC and sanction screening requirements on top of that? So that's always going on, and so it's really hard to predict what will impact this on the near future. But if we look back at payments, in the essence, it's quite simple. Someone wants to pay someone else, that's it. And if we would like easy that, then we could stop here. But on top of that, we see, if we look at Europe as a whole, each country has its own specifics. You mentioned that here it's 30% card payments in Romania. In the euro area, the average is about 54%, but it doesn't mean that it's the same in each country, because in Germany it's a bit less and more cash-oriented than in countries like in the Nordic, for example. So on the one hand, we see consumers having their preferences. They want to have the option to make a choice on when or on how they pay at what type of situation. That could be very well cash in certain scenarios, or using cards in other scenarios, or account-to-account in other scenarios. So providing this optional choice is quite important. But I also believe that this choice should not be mandated by regulation. I think at the end of the day, it's a consumer who decides what payment method to use at what moment. So forcing the consumer to either use instant payments or account-to-account or cards or cash or central bank issued digital currencies, it's not a good thing, because at the end of the day it will be the consumer who will decide what to do with. So I think it's extremely important also to keep innovating in that particular space, tailor solutions that fit the actual needs, and build solutions of that of course are compliant with the regulations or the instant or the various strategies of the regulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's really very important to keep the choices for the consumers, and also we in Visa believe that the consumer should have choices and should choose according to the preferences and according to the level of development of the society. So now, Mr. Yildiran.
Yes, it is not a surprise for us also in Token. We see as PSD3 as a really important event for the following 12 to 24 months. How we see it, it will bring a new framework which will kind of motivate us to work with the inter-operational way. I mean, the operability will be enabled, meaning that the schemes, the methods, the institutions like banks and the other institutions, payment institutions, need to work together. I think it will encourage everybody to through that way, but it will be a huge responsibility for all stakeholders also how to make it happen all together to cooperate. We believe that it will kill the competition. It is going to create the cooperative environment.
Yeah, thank you very much. So if I can add to this question from my personal perspective, I think that the best next thing would be agentic commerce. It has been mentioned by you, Bogdan. Already appeared. We have some, agents currently which have artificial intelligence. There are pieces that are missing, and they are not very, let's say, widespread. But for sure, in 1-2 years, I think that the way we will be doing in general shopping and in particular payments will be a bit different than we have now. Now, I would go to you, Galya. So Iris Solutions is closely cooperating with both financial institutions and, in general, with very innovative companies. And actually, the main scope is to unlock the power of the data. I was thinking if you can let us know where are bank fintech partnerships in CEE delivering the fastest return on investment. There are many areas that where you touch upon. It's data access, it's payment initiation, risk tooling. Which one would you see that it's bringing, this partnership at a real value?
Okay, everybody knows that open banking is data and payments. As a former banker, I have more than 20 years experience in banking. I believe that payment initiation or data will play a big role in developing new era of digital products because I believe that with open data we could make better AML, KYC products, we could enhance our scoring system, we could we make use cases with marketing and loyalty products, but the reality is fully different. It's the cooperation between third-party providers like Iris Solutions and the non-banking institution and banks in the area of payment, because payment, account-to-account payment through open banking, you could measure very clear the new era of payment. They are fast, secure, and low cost for the merchant. And our region is price oriented.
Yes, it's price sensitive indeed. We've seen it in all the areas in terms of banking, in terms of payments, so indeed it's price sensitive.
Low cost for account to account through open banking. We deliver payment solutions for a lot of verticals, for insurance business, for banks, for non-banking institutions, for e-commerce, for all the industry.
I understand. Thank you very much. These are really interesting thoughts, and I think that the subject is really it's huge, and I'm sure that we can talk for ages about open banking and everything which is related to the payments. Now, turning to Diederik, nowadays consumers are expecting everything to be instant. So we are talking about instant gratifications, instant access to almost everything, right? So from your perspective and from ESBG point of view, We would like to understand your view regarding the single policy or standard that would most accelerate safe cross-border instant payments. We know that we have currently domestic payments, at least for Romania, the market I know better. We have domestic instant payments, which is the stage of the adoption of the cross-border. And here, maybe, if it's possible, you won't touch only about the intra-European, but also outside the European Union.
Yes, thank you very much. Indeed, instant payments is something that started as a kind of voluntary movement, I would say, in Europe, following a wish from a multi-stakeholder body called the Euro Retail Payments Board, which is a multi-stakeholder forum that's being run under the auspices of the European Central Bank, where we see banks, fintechs, processors, but also consumers and merchants and national competent authorities and national central banks together. They expressed the wish, okay, the market should explore something like instant payment. So as a follow-up of that, the European Payments Council, which is again also a non-regulatory body, it's a not-for-profit organization set up by banks and PSP, developed the instant payment schemes that banks then could adhere to voluntarily to support it. And I'm talking now only about the euro payments. And those banks that saw a business case there started to adopting it and using it. In fact, it started locally, but after that cross-border in the euro area. Savings banks were among the first to adopt the scheme. The first cross-border instant payments transaction in euro was taking place between two of our members, and also the first transaction on TIPS, the central bank settlement system for instant payments of the ECB, was also between two savings banks. So far, so good. It was a market. Banks that wanted to offer propositions did it to the consumers. Banks that want to refrain from it, free to go. But then the regulator stepped in and decided, okay, this adoption rate of instant payments, which in their expectations and the retail payment strategies should have become the new normal, didn't take off as expected. So what does the Commission then? We heard the Colombier stating it at lunch. They launched a regulation basically forcing the market to move to instant payments, which you could see maybe as a market intervention or not. Do we really need instant payments or not? There are a lot of arguments also for cases where an instant payment is not really needed. For example, salary payments, scheduled payments, a lot of payments that don't necessarily need to be put out instantly. So nevertheless, okay, the regulation is there. Parts of it we welcomed, part of it we are not happy with. For example, the price regulation aspect in there is maybe not so beneficial for banks. Of course, we face with a lot of, in Europe in general, it's not a Romanian problem, price sensitivity by payments service users is a common problem, and notably for our members, which are typically banks that serve consumers. I think the consumers are the worst ones who want to pay for payments. Maybe corporates or merchants or SMEs want to pay a little bit to accept payments, but the consumers want to have the payments for free, whilst banks always need to invest in there, so that's a bit of a pity, which is good. The ambition to, for example, remove the sanction screening from a per transaction basis to database screening is a very good point, because being early adopters of the instant payment scheme, we already saw between our certain corridors that a lot of instant payments contain so-called false positives when doing the sanction screening, which with normal payments nobody would notice, because these would be put on a queue, manual processed by an analyst, and after that being put back in the queue in the batch, and the payment would still be processed the same day, maybe half an hour, 1 hour later, depending on the systems. But in instant payments, you don't have that leeway to manually process those hits against a sanctioned list. So it's good that they're moved from per transaction screening to database screening. The problem that persists still is that this only required for European sanctions list. And most, if not all banks, also have to comply with regulations imposed upon them from outside the EU. Think about the OFAC or UN, who also have a list of sanctions individuals and businesses. And even if you're a European bank, maybe even without a presence in the US, for example, if you still want to engage in dollar clearing, for example, you still need to comply with those lists. Or if you, as a board member of that bank, at some point in time want to visit the United States, you don't want to be pulled aside over there for not being compliant with those OFAC regulations. So this sanction screening is still a possible barrier on instant payments in Europe going forward. But I will stop here, and we can maybe, if there's time permitting, expand more on other topics. But thank you very much.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how many solutions, even though, you know, you need to check to fulfill a lot of legal requirements, it's really interesting to see how many solutions are live today, be either, I don't know, to card, to account, or to wallet, or, you know, for every recipient in this world. Some of them are instant, some of them are not instant, but let's hope that for the future we're going to talk more and more about instant outside Europe as well. Now moving a bit the focus onto the merchant payments and the way we digitize merchant payments. Actually, the main idea for all of us that are working in the payment industry and also for the governments is to reduce the reliance on cash. So I'm referring now to Mr. Yildiran. What do merchants need most from account to account and also from instant, and how close are we in offering what they need actually as an industry?
Okay. I think we are there already. Let me start with the last part, but let's put it in this way. At the end of the day, there is a payment going on, but it's originated either from cash or account, in principle. All the other payment methodologies are coming through account. We are adding other layers to those facilities at the end of the day. What we see here is, especially in this economic environment, macroeconomic environment, especially in our region and especially in Romania, cash become very expensive. It was always expensive, and it's really harmful to all stakeholders. This is one. The second one is, when you start with the account, you are already there for the merchant with the first layer, because they are originating all their payments from that account, either in or out. Everything happens in the account. It, by definition, gives you some advantages. One of them is cost. The other one is speed. Another one is also the liability of your data and accuracy of your data, because it's in the account, you can see everything what's going on there. But I think the main challenge also will be for the account, how it is going to integrate with the other schemes and the other topics to bring all together in the same picture. Because today, especially in the region, the main problem is, even for the corporates, but especially for SMEs and micro, is the problem of accessing the loan, problem of accessing the cash flow financing, even the simple one. It sounds like very simple, but it's very difficult. The only mandatory thing to prove here is your cash flow. And what we see it here is, with it's all the global players are talking, either with the branding of the one device for all, or let's say that financial hub recently we started here. Also in token, we are creating this one with our offline channel, which is POS, where we integrate cash register with the EFT POS, at least to start with the visibility on the cash and also the non-cash instruments of the acceptance to further develop. This is how we see it. I think, by definition, account is a must to have it today. It has advantages, but repeating one more time, it's again how it's going to interoperate with all the other schemes and to bring the one-stop shop experience to the merchant for their benefit, to provide them the largest available data about payments.
Yeah, thank you. So you mentioned, the needs of a merchant, like speed and security. What about trust? Do you think that there is the amount of trust that we need to within the system to continue to do business at least at the level and to grow at the level that we are currently growing in digital payments?
Yes, I think, I mean, the trust is relevant for all methods and all schemes and everything. And the trust is with the experience of all industries. We say that it's not by word, with the experience. I mean, you cannot gain the trust with a sales speech or something like that. What you need to do is you need to gain the trust with that one. Here, there is a trick, I believe. I mean, everybody is focusing on the front line or above the surface to show the trust. But I think trust is more related to all merchants and the consumers or stakeholders about what is under the surface, meaning the back end. I think the main innovation will continue to develop not in the front line, but in the back office part. And what we are investing, and I think all the competition is investing to this seamless, sustainable back office to create the trust. Because whatever you are going to do, whatever you are going to offer as a better price, expensive, doesn't matter how do you call it, or the fancy, very innovative, if you go to the point and you cannot work to make the payment, there is no trust, there is no sustainable business, there is no activity at the end of the day. I think it's related to more on what kind of system you are providing in the back end.
So actually it's embedded, it should be embedded in everything, because otherwise we cannot sustain the development of the digital economy. Yeah. Thank you very much. Now I'm turning to you, Anna. Smart Fintech was a pioneer in digital financial services infrastructure for account-to-account payments. So I would like to invite you to discuss how do we move currently open banking from compliance to compelling consumer and SME proposition, because for now everyone is respecting, we have to do it, it's compliance. However, the adoption, maybe it's not at the level that we were thinking of.
Yes, indeed, the expectations were quite higher, and I think that is something that we have seen at the entire industry level. The bets that were initially put on open banking was much higher in terms of speed and market adoption. What we see now, so open banking has two major pillars, is payment initiation, account-to-account payments, and account interrogation. That can give access to account statements and banking history that can be used in different use cases, loans, credit profiling, scoring, and so on. And what we see is a truly need from the market. So there are use cases that are asked by the clients. Our clients are mostly SME, so we are not addressing to direct to the consumer, yes, unless our clients are offering to their clients products built on open banking. So for sure there is a demand. We also see a few days ago we had an incident in which something happened on one bank for a few minutes, and mail started to come because we are also receiving mail. We are in contact with end users, the clients of our clients, and they started to send mails and, oh my God, just 1 minute downtime, and they are, everything is on fire. This is a good sign.
Yeah, yes.
But I would say that we still need the regulator in this love triangle between TPPs, banks, and the regulator, because we are not yet in the moment in which the open banking is largely adopted and is so powerful, driven by the market, that everybody has to accept that this is a strategic direction. And for example, in Romania, we are 2 TPP licensed. We are not that many as there are in other countries. But yet, the quality of open banking APIs in Romania, it's higher than in other countries. Of course, it's not a harmonization across Europe, but for sure the APIs in Romania are better in some cases. And there is a great initiative we launched together with National Bank and together with other TPPs on the local markets, Iris, Smart Fintech, Finquare, Paysera, and we joined our efforts in an open and cooperation framework that help us to improve open banking together with the banks, even if it's not driven by the legislation from Brussels, because what we all expect to be brought by PSD3 and PCR is being delayed. So it's a legislation that started.
We are going to have it, as you've heard.
Yeah, but meanwhile, we did adopt some local improvements that are not driven by the PSD2. For example, bulk payments that was implemented in Romania is not mandatory in the legislation, but it was a major outcome of this ROBI working group. So I would say that the things are moving, but we are still in the phase in which we need to struggle further, also with the back of regulator.
Yeah, I think that indeed the regulation should help a bit here in the adoption, but also the education, because it's I believe, at least from the consumer perspective, it's a bit of lack of the education. So I think that we as an industry need to do more in order to educate and in order to increase the access actually to the digital economy and the digital world. What do you think about that?
I think we, for sure, yes, you're right, and we have seen that by having different clients that are acting in different industries, and when identifying their profile and the customer they serve, we observe that some end users with a certain profile are having much higher drop rates than other. And I will give just an example. If we are having a trade platform and that kind of customer profile, a trader, and a loan institution, an IFNE, the drop rate compared to those institutions are quite different.
Yeah, so the education matters.
Yeah, it's a matter of digitalization and how to...
And the abilities actually that every individual have them. Thank you very much, really interesting insights, and I'm very happy that you brought also examples from the real life. We don't talk only from the books here, right? All right, so ROPE announced, I would say recently, I was chit-chatting with Bogdan earlier, he said that it's not quite recently. So ROPE announced its launch in Romania with multiple use cases. So I would like to invite you, Bogdan, to discuss a bit about the right balance between the speed and fraud controls on instant rails, because the volumes are growing, so what we expect for the future.
We hope the volumes are growing. Yeah. No, it's okay. I'll stay like this to be closer to the microphone. Okay, so I was wondering myself if there is a balance. Actually, a balance means that more safety, less speed. I don't think it's so. I think there are two parallel rails. The train needs both to run. As it was mentioned here, the instant, it's already a must. Yeah. It's not something to treat with. In the same time, the security should be there. But as you mentioned, the trust, it's embedded. My opinion about what you are talking previously is that the trust, it should be embedded, and it is embedded, because actually all these methods of payments are actually made by the banks, made by the financial institutions, approved by authorities, approved like ROPE is approved by the National Bank, and for the end users, both individuals or companies, the trust is embedded. But coming back to the speed of payments, it should be instant, yeah? And the authentication of the payer, it was discussed earlier about authentication. What does authentication mean? Yeah, and actually this is a good question because we also said about agent payments. How do you authenticate the agent? The authentication of the payer now and after 1 year or 2 years, it will be different. It's changing every time. Yeah, you need to know as an institution, payment institution, guarding the money of the payers. You need to know the payers. You need to know your customers. This is a must. But how well can you know a customer? Yeah, this is debatable because even the customer don't want to be very well known. This is the one reason for cash. Yeah, this is the reason for cash. It was already mentioned that 53% in Europe, 54 maybe, are cash, still cash, and in this part of Europe, cash is even higher. We are drawing. Okay, so the customer don't want to be well known, but in the same time they want to make payments transparent payments. Yeah, they don't want difficult methods. Yeah. For instance, Ropay is at his beginning. It's not so easy like comparing with cards for now. And this is a very, I don't know, challenge. It's a great challenge for us, yeah? Because we want safety, but in the same time we want to pay instant. We want to pay with one click, if it is possible, yeah? And how we can do that? With knowing your customer, making the checks before or after the payment, doesn't matter. This is a recommendation also from the European Union to make the checks before, to know very well your customer. And in the same time, I think that we need to rely also on the checks that merchants can do. Because in my personal opinion, merchants know, sometimes merchants know better the customer. You have an account with the merchant, you have a history with the merchant knows what you are buying, the merchant knows the delivery point. So I believe in the authentication made by the customer, by the merchant, and with the responsibility that merchant can take for this. Yeah.
Let's see if it works, actually, this part with the merchant and responsibility of the merchant, because, you know, some of them are disputing this kind of, you know, method. So let's see, how does it work?
Yeah, talking about disputes, it was a very, very common question. Okay, account-to-account payments have this area of disputes like hard, because this
especially instant payments.
Instant payments, yeah, exactly. This is a safety net for both the merchant and the customer, I think, for the banks also. And this, okay, is different from country to country. In our case, the answer is yes. There is this safety network. We have disputes, and it's not a surprise that merchants, in our case at least, want to be responsible in case the transaction it's easier for the payer. Yeah.
So from what you said, I've seen that user experience is really very important, and
yes.
You noticed.
Yes, because the safety is embedded.
Okay, yeah. So they come hand in hand, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So moving forward to Galya, what we would like to find out more, it's in terms of open banking, you know, the main area for you. So what's the future of open banking beyond the PSD2? We know that it's going to be PSD3, we know that it's going to be PSR, but what exactly we expect, where is going actually, in terms of consumer experience?
Okay. beyond PSD2 is PSD3. The first step is open banking, the next one is open data and open finance. But I really believe that PSD2 and PSD3 will make Europe independent and give Europe the real new rails for its own payment system. Because, okay, reducing global intermediaries with PSD2 and PSD3. And I think that innovation in payment area now is not technological. It's political and it's, how to say, structural. Because Europe transformed regulation into innovation, transform competition to collaboration. And the future of payment industry, I strongly believe it will be integrated, networking, local system, and the landscape will be with a lot of not local, but on the rails of instant payment and instant connectivity, partnership in front of the, not in the back office, but in front office.
Yeah, there are a lot of changes, I'm sure about that, and I think that moving to digital in general, doesn't matter what rails have that digital, it's not exactly a technological thing, it's a mentality, it's a change in mentality actually for the consumers and also for the companies to move forward.
And very important in different type for Europe is that its philosophy of inclusion. All this regulation promise all the members in payment industry to use one and the same open rails and to compete on a different level. I think that for Europe this is fully different type of innovation. For other part of the world, they make innovation, but this innovation are in closed system. And
Okay,
now
so there is no interoperability, actually. Yeah, yeah.
And
I think that this is the plus in Europe.
yes,
I'm
sure.
All right, so keeping in the same area of open banking, we know that it encourages and facilitates the collaboration between the traditional banking and the fintech. So, Anna, what do you think makes bank-fintech partnerships successful, and when can we talk about great cooperation in this area?
I think the starting point is a business value proposition that is strongly articulated by the fintech, and the collaboration flow now is more initiated by the fintech. So this would be the roadmap of the cooperation. So the fintech is the one that goes to the banks and makes a good proposition in this regards. And once this added value is clear for the bank, if the mindset is there, I think is room for cooperation for sure. And we have seen on the market different partnership in these regards. I can speak about partnerships in open banking field that I'm aware of, and I think there are at least 7 banks that are having partnerships with different open banking providers, and they embedded open banking into their products for the consumers. The recent one, the last one that comes into my mind is the top-up that Salt Bank issued from their mobile app. So in order to do the top-ups on salt account. So yes, there are partnerships on the market, not yet, I know, business as usual is rather more a certain percentage. And also when talking with other fintech representatives, they are struggling to enter into partnership with banks or with larger institutions. They are still being, I know, in an early phase of that kind of business partnership, but things are moving forward.
Yeah, so the news are encouraging, I would say, and I think that the main value proposition here is for the consumer, because we need to put hand in hand together and move the consumer from something that is very comfortable, from cash maybe, to move them as much as or as many as possible to digital payments as well. So I think that we have the tools. We need to polish a bit the way we present the tools, and then to educate.
Yeah, and just to add something, so also about the consumer, if the approach would be for a bank to offer, to offer many services in an umbrella product, and to go in that direction, in which in mobile application they are offering a lot of features and services for the customer, assurance or that kind of extra services that can be covered by partnerships.
Yes, and they can be monetized, and we renounce to this commodity, talking all the time about pricing. Let's talk about the value associated or the price associated to the value, I mean, at least to put them together. Yeah. Thank you very much. So we had in the previous session today, we heard more and more about the upcoming digital euro and pros and cons, and what is moving at Europe level. In my personal opinion, this is going to be a significant development for Europe's monetary landscape. So coming back to you, Diederik, which role digital euro will play in the payment ecosystem? Which is your opinion on this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Of course, we first of all need to understand what is it exactly that we're talking about. And I think here with a specialist in the room, it's maybe easy to distinguish or explain the two-tier system we have with central bank money and commercial bank money that we use to run our daily businesses as banks. And the commercial bank money is basically money that you as consumers use on the one hand to pay, but also on the other hand to have your mortgages and your SME financing organized, because that's money that's being basically created by the commercial bank sector under the umbrella of supervision by central banks. So it's money, it's not fake money, it's also not a second tier money. So I think that's already one of the first key aspects that we need to understand and take into account. At the moment, a central bank decides to introduce CBDC. It should not be being framed as, it's very difficult to explain or do the financial education to customers, explaining the difference between commercial bank money and central bank money. And we have to, if you want to explain that as a central banker, you have to be very careful, but not pointing at commercial bank money as not being safe or at risk or whatever, because all the countries have deposit guarantee schemes, all financial institutions are supervised and what have you. So it's something that it's at par. Okay, taking that into account, what's then the ambition of it? We hear it's a possibility to have a digital equivalent of cash, which is further needed in the digital age. Also, we hear as argument, okay, it's getting more and more challenging because cash is indeed a very pricey product, that it's difficult to convert your commercial bank money into cash because we see a reduction in ATMs, ranges or whatever. So also there, this conversion function is being used as an argument by the ECB to have it. But most of all, we hear about, okay, we're now positioning it notably as a retail payment solution. where it should be applied to basically all the use cases that already can be solved with other payment means, not only person to person or account to account or at the point of interaction or online. And if you look then at that, the key question is, okay, do we need yet another solution? Have we just been imposed with the instant payment regulation? Before that we had the PSD2 facilitating account-to-account payments. So we are giving more choice to the market, which in general is good, but the question is at the end of the day, who is going to then use and explain the products? And that comes then to a key question that is especially of concern to my members, savings and retail banks. Again, we serve consumers, so we have challenges in externalizing the costs, also for the euro. And by the way, also the euro regulation contains price regulation because it says, okay, banks on the one hand are forced to offer it to the consumers. Okay, interesting. And second, they need to offer it for free. Okay, that's nice, thank you very much. But the good news is there is a bit of a hint of an inter-PSP model that could resemble something like interchange, but the jury is still out to see how that will look like, what the levels will be, and what have you. So banks have cost, no side of revenues. On top of that, we face indeed the risk, as Eric de Colombier mentioned, of possible deposit outflows, which is now, of course, now being encapsulated by imposing caps and no remuneration on holdings. But still, every euro that disappears from our balance sheet disables our capabilities at the other end of the balance sheet to finance the economy or provide loans or mortgages to consumers. So the key question is here, if as banks we need to make all these investments and there's no clear sight on real revenues, will banks actually promote this new service to their consumers? And if the banks are not doing it, is someone else going to do it? Is the ECB going to promote campaigns, sponsor the Olympics like Visa does, or the Championship football as the other scheme does? I wonder. That's a key question. And it's a very complex file. Maybe the last beforehand back. The digital euro regulation proposal was published on the same date as the PSR PSD3 legislative proposal. And as Eric de Colombier mentioned, tomorrow he's traveling to Strasbourg for a trilogue meeting on PSR PSD3, which is at the final stage of the legislative process. And with the digital euro, the two co-legislators, Council and Parliament, don't even have their positions as of yet, which shows how complex it is, how many actors there are at play. I believe everybody has a view on it, and it is very difficult to align all those interests of all stakeholders. So it will take quite some time before we will actually see the digital euro, and on top of that, challenge will be how will it coexist with existing payments means, which at the end of the day should not be replaced, I believe, for digital euro.
Yeah, let's watch this space to understand exactly what is going to be for. Okay, let's remind this. All right, so what we see now in our region, CEE region, is that the adoption of the instant payments, it's quite uneven. If we look, in the countries that are falling in this region. So Bogdan, in your opinion, do we have barriers to instant payment adoption and in CEE? And if yes, which would be those? Or which are the biggest, actually?
The biggest, because there are many, because there are local barriers, there are regional barriers, there are, let's say, European, not to say world barriers, but to limit to the Europe. It's uneven development of instant payments methods, payment methods. That's because we started sooner or earlier. In case of Romania, I think we've been the latest adopter of, not of instant payments, but of RoPay as a method of the tools. Because instant payments are here for years, and the adoption now it's good. It was not. It was gradually adopted, but now it's very good. But the tools to use instant payments are adopted different in different countries. The methods as well are very different. Yeah, it was mentioned here about API initiative, about Wiro. It was mentioned about Europa. And speaking about Europa, it's for weeks. It's a member of EMSA. It's European Mobile Payment Association. So we are working together with our members to build bridges. To build actually one of the biggest barrier in the region or in the Europe is that there is no single method. This is an advantage and in the same time a disadvantage because being so many methods, they are not homogeneous. They are very different. So. For instance, let's think to the usage of NFC, because we spoke about how easy it is to use these methods. We don't have access now, direct access as payment methods to the NFC. You know very well, we've been discussing this. But this is a concern at the level of European Parliament, and there is a commission there working to this. So NFC, from the point of view of access to the kernel of devices, to access to data security elements, but there are the methods are very different build. For instance, some methods need to have access there. Other methods, like ourselves, does not need to have. There are the payments is triggered all the way around from the mobile payment application, not from the POS. Mm-hmm. So the differences are very structural, very deep. Yeah. So this is a barrier. Another barrier is there are no regulation speaking about disputes, but not only. How do you make an installment payment? Yeah. How do you make a payment in 2 steps with authorization, pre-authorization to use cards language, because here is different, but to use this. How do you make refunds? Yeah. We don't have yet European rules for this. These are ongoing. These are the barriers. Other barriers are about education, as you said, as you mentioned so many times. Education in terms of fraud. The people need to know that it is a safe way of payment. In the same time, the people need to know the way of payment itself, because we need to make marketing. We need to make it well known. And this is a challenge, because in Western Europe, these initiatives were private initiative mainly, and it was they were developed by the banks mainly, yeah. And in Eastern Europe, they are developed by the public sector or public and
or the regulators,
or the regulator
you know,
itself.
heavy involvement.
Yeah. This is very different, because the mentality of the people are very different. If in Eastern Europe is not a matter of I want this and I will adopt this because it is by itself. Yeah, you need to encourage sovereignty, as it was mentioned. You need to encourage local sovereignty. Yeah? In Romania or in Eastern Europe in general, what's in it for me? It's no question, and you
instant
need to,
gratification,
exactly,
you know, for the consumer.
You need to have something as a consumer. For the merchant, it is obvious what they are winning, but for the payers, it is more difficult. So there are a lot of layers of barriers, but we will handle them.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure about that. And because we speak about innovative ways of payment, and I think that, you know, the sky is the limit, and we can break also this misperception. new payment methods. So speaking about innovation in general, we need to look on both sides, consumers as well as the merchants. So it would be great if we can understand from you, Mr. Yildiran, from your very close cooperation with the merchants, what is the one user interface change that most increases merchant and consumer adoption in your particular case?
Thank you. It's a very important point, and it's very valid that both consumer and also the merchant side, we should look holistic altogether. Otherwise it doesn't make sense. I will start with this one. First of all, I will share an experience. It failed in Romania, and then I will explain.
This would be
later.
really good.
I think usually we are talking about successes, but I think the best learning is with the failure. I was working for a foreign bank in Romania between 2006 and 2012, and we brought here the most innovative payment NFC technology with 3 tools. One of them is a sticker you can attach to your mobile phone. The other one was a Swatch watch. It's integrated with the payment tool. And the third one was a key holder. We believe that this is the most innovative. We are going to rock the market. Everything will be best. But there were no acceptance on the merchant side for these tools. This was one. The second one is the consumer was not ready to experience it. They don't, I think 19, 20 years ago, nobody was in rush when they were enter shopping. They were enjoying the conversation with the sellers, enjoying the conversation with the cashiers, etc. So it's very important to understand the life event going on in the payment. Mr. Vice Governor mentioned in his keynote saying very well, the payment is in the center of the life. But I think if you are going to design the experience focusing on the payment, you will not cover all the need. You should first understand the life event triggering that part, both for the merchants and for the consumers. And consumers, there is another element that I believe, at the end of the day, payments, when they come to our merchant, they are tap and pay with different tools, watch, phone, card, I don't know, fingerprints, and the ID is coming, everything. So, but at the end of the day, it's the same experience that you are providing to them. What you need to do is, it should be accepted. I'm referring again my back things. You should create a sustainable infrastructure to increase your conversion rate, acceptance rate, and the other things. This is one. And the technology is more driven than you. Because the technology companies are giving these tools to them, not us. We should adapt to the technological tools which we can integrate payment. This is the trick there. But when it comes to our main part, you were referring the merchant part, the main problem here in the merchants, I'm repeating again, they don't want to work lots of devices for payment acceptance or related ERPs or the sending invoice, making the fiscal register papers, etc. They look for simplicity. They don't want another device for account, they don't want another one for card. They would like to have everything for cash and non-cash. What we did as a user experience is coming from there. In a single device, we are creating this one for the focus, make their life easier to accept everything in a single device, creating the integrated data for them. Because life doesn't finish with this individual payment. They need to check their cash flow. They need to make their payments. They need to look at their account balance. They need to order the stock. That's why we have the stock also program for them. We have also sales automations for them. I think all of us responsible for that. Also, it was the keynote speech of the gentleman from the European Commission. He was mentioning about how heavily we are struggling and the merchants are struggling with the cash pressure and the other things. I think it's about Visa, MasterCard, us, payment institutions, banks all together to fix this problem with integrated solutions like cash advance and the other things. So to keep it short, what we make as a user experience, start with that and make everything available in single point of contact and for any tool, any infrastructure to finalize their life event related to the payment.
Yeah, I think that this is really very important to have everything in one shot, in one application actually, to make it available for all the needs that a merchant might have, and also for the consumer. It's going to be easier than, you know, what am I going to pay? I'm going to pay with RoPay, let's go to the other terminal or so. I mean, it creates burden not only on the merchant, but also on the consumer. All right, thank you really very much for your input. I'm really happy that we had such a diverse panel here. With fintechs, people with banking background, banks, and also new payment schemes. I hope that the audience also enjoyed our discussion today. I would like to thank you very much to the panelists, and I'm not sure if we have time for questions, but I will raise, I will raise this challenge.
First of all, thank you very much for having me here. So congratulations for the panel. It was really, really amazing. And congratulations for having such beautiful lady in the panels. So actually, my name is Valentina Dragomir. I'm working for Eurotrust in Romania. And as you know, speaking about legislation, by the end of 2026, it will be issued the EUD wallet. Actually, it's actually something like it will be mandatory for every country. And it's like somehow answer to all topics that were issues here, because it has trust service embedded, so it's a trust service solutions. It's fast, it's very fast because enabled KYC in like 10 seconds. It's also very cost effective to say like this, because it's free for the end users. And my question to you is how we can collaborate together, because actually the expectation from the European Union is that by the end of 2026, at least 40% from the European citizens to have an EUD wallet and to have a digital identity. And looking at the statistic from the beginning of the panel, actually there is still space for you to improve the cards acceptance. So I think that there is space for everyone to grow, so somehow we can create some kind of collaboration, some kind of space to collaborate together, we as a trust service providers, you as a payment providers. Maybe it's an opportunity to join the love triangle or to create a circle of love. So every one of us to bring their product, bring their solutions in order to create a better digitized Romania for this. How, from your perspective, what we should do in order to help you to improve the payment acceptance?
I think I can start now. I have my hat of country manager for Romania in Visa. Yes, this is something that is going to be really very big, the digital identity. I know that there are some developments also at the level of the authorities here. Let's see where they will go. I didn't see that much in the last, at least in the last 6 months. Maybe you being closer to them, maybe you've seen much than we've seen. Actually, what I can say is that we as Visa are in the European consortium, in one European consortium, and we were participating in the pilot phase for that. We initiated already one transaction with one Romanian bank. It was the first transaction initiated with this ID wallet. We look forward to improve the ways, not necessarily the ways we cooperate. This is we will figure out afterwards, but to give much more, many utilities to everything we put in the hands of the consumer. Because currently every payment service provider wants to put their wallet. Every authority developed an application, so the consumer is bombarded with many applications, with many wallets, with a lot of functions. Let's see how can we put all of this together and have something that is meaningful not only for the commercial entity or the authority, but also for the consumer. So who wants to take over from me?
I will try, because I have also the head of Transfond here, and I will speak on behalf of my colleagues handling the anti-fraud area. And yes, we are in the middle of the ecosystem of payments in Romania, and we are building It's well known already that we will launch RoDetect, our central service that will help banks to detect in real time fraud. Mentioned about the fraud. Yeah, and we are open to collaborate with everyone because fraud is not limited to what we are seeing in our internal system. Let's say we are collaborating with all the banks. We will collaborate with all the institutions, financial institutions. I think we will collaborate with the cards systems because the fraud is transfrontalier. It's not limited to one method of payments. So we need these kinds of tools that you are providing, and we are open to work.
I think that for fintechs or institutions that can be helped by lifting such a burden of KYC or customer identification might be an opportunity, digital wallet, because they might use some other pathways in order to reuse something that was very strongly performed by the bank, for example.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your open to collaborate with us.
All right, thank you very much again, and see you later.
Thank you.